Hey guys, Harry here from the Art Gear Guy. Thanks very much for joining me today. As you can tell by the title, this video is about wax and oil-based coloured pencils. And the reason why I wanted to make it is because when I do reviews now, I don't really mention whether the core of a pencil is wax or oil-based or anything like that. What I do is I describe how the core feels. So, like, you know, if it feels soft or if it's gritty or anything like that, or if it's hard, how it feels when it's going across certain papers, what it's like to sharpen the pencil, whether the core is really brittle whenever it's being sharpened, things like that. I try to include those types of things in the reviews. And if I don't do it in the video review, I'll do it in the written review. That's why I always provide, no matter what I review, I provide a written review and a video review, because sometimes it's easier to write about something. I find anyway, it's easier to write about something and explain it that way than sitting down and talking about it. But a lot of people, whenever I do these videos, will ask me, you know, so Harry, is it a wax-based pencil or an oil-based pencil? And I try to explain to them, sorry, just let me turn that off, the reasons why I don't go down that route. And so I'll explain it now in this video. And so hopefully, if people ask me this question in the future, I'll be able to point them to this video, and this video will explain it hopefully better than, you know, me sitting down writing a whole long-winded thing. So right back when I first started doing reviews on coloured pencils, I didn't know much about coloured pencils, and when I was doing my reviews, I didn't portray myself as an expert in coloured pencils, certainly nowhere near the level of knowledge that I have now. And I portrayed my videos as a newbie, you know, sort of like showing you guys a newbie's perspective of going through new pencils. But what I did do is, if there was any time I didn't know something about a pencil, I would contact the company. But the problem was, back then, obviously the channel wasn't well known or anything like that. I didn't have personal agents that are assigned to me now. And so I would normally just get through to like a customer service representative. And so I would phone them up and I would say, you know, right, okay, is this a wax-based pencil or an oil-based pencil? And they would tell me, say, like, it's a wax-based pencil. But I could phone up on the Thursday. So I could phone up on the Monday, be told it's wax-based, and phone up on the Thursday and be told it's oil-based. And that's not the fault of the representatives or anything like that. I'm not saying that. Their job really isn't to know the finer details of this product. Their job really is to know, you know, pricing, set sizes, things like that. If you've got a problem with a pencil, you can talk to them and they can sort it out by going through the company. So it was nothing to do with the representatives. That wasn't their job to know the finer details of these pencils. And so I would put it in the review that it's a wax-based pencil, and in the comments section it would start off an avalanche of like, no, Harry, this is an oil-based pencil, and then the other half would say, no, it's wax-based, and there would be like a whole big thing going. If you look back at some of my earlier videos, you'll see in the comments section, you know, it can get a little bit heated sometimes about this wax and oil-based thing. So that got me started, because I thought to myself, if there's doubt in the comments section, if there's doubt among the people that are watching these videos, then I'm not doing my job properly in providing accurate information with regards to these pencils. So I thought the only way I'm going to resolve this is to talk to the people who actually formulate the ingredients of the pencils. So that didn't mean talking to any of the agents that are assigned to me or anything like that. That meant going even deeper into the company and talking to the people that are involved in the science of these pencils. Don't forget, I know a lot of people in the art community, like oil painters and acrylic painters and some watercolor painters that are really high level on their mediums. kind of look down on colored pencil art because they don't see it as it might. I think it's changing now, but I know that when I first started doing reviews, that was very much the tone of how certain artists looked upon colored pencil art. But to create a artist quality or an artist grade colored pencil, there's a lot that goes into it, and a lot of the ingredients that goes into it is top secret to that company. That company doesn't want anybody knowing the exact ingredients. And I suppose when it comes down to it, it's like any medium, like oil paints and all the rest of it. It's like baking a cake. The ingredients that go into the cores of these pencils has to be ratioed perfectly, and so after about 2 years of talking to different people, trying to get people to do me favors, I eventually got through. I was eventually able to talk to 2 chemists, let's call them chemists, from 2 separate companies. Now, neither of these chemists knew I was talking to the other. And that wasn't like me just being sly or anything like that. The first one that I spoke to, I never in a million years thought that I was going to speak to a second one. And that just kind of like happened by chance. So it wasn't that I kept it from them. It's just I didn't realize I was going to have the opportunity to talk to a second one. So obviously I can't tell you the companies that I spoke to, and I can't tell you the names of the chemists that I spoke to, because I wasn't really supposed to be talking to them. I think maybe now it would be okay. But anyway, I just don't want to get into the finer details of it. And unfortunately, the only proof I have is the fact that, I spoke to these people over the phone, and it's, you're just going to have to take my word for it that what I'm telling you here is right. Or not right, but the truth, what I was told. So the first chemist that I got through to, I started asking them a lot of questions about the pencils and colored pencils in general, not necessarily the brand that they were involved in, but just colored pencils in general. And I explained to them the frustration that I was having doing these reviews, and whether a pencil was wax or oil based, and sometimes the controversy that it created within the comment sections. And I asked them, I said, so can you help me understand this process better? And they basically explained to me that there is no such thing as a wax or an oil-based colored pencil. Now, they explained to me that there are various different types of waxes that goes into these pencils. Some waxes are much harder than others. And so, because for a lot of people in the color pencil community, when you tell, and I'm talking about maybe more people that have just come into the medium, or maybe people that have been around the medium for a year. So I'm not talking about colored pencil artists that have been around the medium for like 10 or 15 years. I'm not talking about you guys. But a lot of people, when you say to them a wax-based pencil, most of them will conjure up in their head a soft core, something like Prismacolor. And if you say to them like an oil-based core, again, they will conjure up a harder base core, and will think more along the lines of maybe Faber-Castell Polychromos or something like that, or whatever. But that's not the case. If you look at, perhaps in my opinion, the hardest core pencil on the market at the minute, which in my opinion is the Derwent Artist, that is considered a wax-based pencil. That's considered a pencil that is predominantly wax, and yet though it's one of the hardest cores on the market, so that dispels that whole myth. You need to get that whole thing out of your head about, a wax-based pencil equals soft core, and an oil-based pencil equals harder core. That's not the case. It just depends on what type of wax that's used in the pencils and that type of thing. Now, back to the actual thing. Almost all pencils that are made have a variation of wax and oil in them. So they're not exclusively wax or exclusively oil. They need them both. And then obviously on top of that, you have obviously your pigments that go into it and your binding agents and all these other different ingredients that go into it to create the cores that we know and love within certain pencils. When I was talking to the second chemist, they explained it a little bit like this. So you go to a bar and you ask somebody in your party says to you, "Can I have a vodka, please?" And you go up to the bar and you get a vodka and you put Coke in it, just a little bit of Coke, more vodka, but just a dash of Coke, and you bring it down to them. They're not going to take that drink and go, right, okay, because there's more vodka in it than there is Coke, that constitutes a vodka, which is what they asked. That's not what it is. It's a vodka and Coke at that point. And it's the same with the pencils. Although one pencil might have more wax in it than oil, that doesn't mean that it's a wax-based pencil. That means that it's a wax and oil-based pencil. Do you see what I mean? And when they were, both of these chemists, when they were explaining things, they really went into a lot of detail, and I tried my best to take as much notes as I could. And me making this video has taken quite a long time. I wanted to be able to break down all of the stuff that they told me, which fried my mind, into an easier video to understand. And so I'm trying my best to convey to you guys what was told to me. And so I did ask them, so if this is the case, then why with certain companies do they market their pencils as oil or wax based? And basically they had said to me, well, that's got nothing to do with them. That's not their department. That's marketing. That's higher up in the chain that comes up with these things. If you take Derwent, for instance, right? When Derwent brought out the Lightfast pencils, they made they explained in great detail that this was the first oil-based pencil that they created. All their other pencils before that were wax-based. Now, and it's it is the same with other companies. I'm not just using Derwent as an example. I'm saying all companies do this, and it does confuse matters, especially. But when you want to get really down into the nitty gritty of it, and you want to get down right into the core base facts, which is what I try to do when I'm delivering these reviews to you guys. I try to make sure that these reviews are as detailed as I possibly can, and that they are as accurate as I possibly can get them. It's just not the case that one pencil is wax and one pencil is oil-based. It just doesn't exist. Which is the reason why, for the past 2 or 3 years now, when I'm doing my reviews, I do my level best to describe what the core of that pencil feels like in your hand, how it glides across the paper, how it might drag across the paper because of grittiness, anything like that. I try to make sure that those details are picked up and passed across to you guys. When I'm doing my reviews, I try to make sure that my reviews are the next best thing to you walking into a store, lifting a pencil and testing it on a piece of paper. Because I know you're not going to get that level of accuracy and what have you in any review. It doesn't matter what review it is. You're not going to get that level of accuracy. But in the reviews that I do, I really try my best to make sure that when you read the written review and you watch the video review and you combine the information from both reviews, you hopefully, and also as well the artwork is a huge part of my reviews now. And I can remember, I'll tell you how I got into doing the artwork in the very beginning. A lot of people used to say to me, you should do some artwork with the pencils. And because at the time, all I used to do was, hello boy, my gorgeous Coda is right beside me. Let's have a look and see if you can see him. Go. Look. Handsome boy. You handsome boy? Sorry about that, guys. Thought I would just show you him. But yeah, so in my reviews, I just try to make sure that everything is as accurate as I can possibly get it. And so for me, those two, the written review and the video review, are a big part of helping you understand the pencils. But like I was saying, the artwork as well, how I got into that was, prior to me doing artwork with the actual product, I would just do the test that I still do, the layering test and the blending test, and that was really about it. And I can remember reading a comment on one of Lisa's, Lisa from Lockery Fine Art. She had done a video on something, nothing at all related to reviews or anything like that. She had done a video, I think she had done a review herself of a pencil. And I remember reading in the comments, somebody had put how they loved the review that Lisa had done, and how that they detest the reviews that people do where they just do the swatches. And at that time, that's what I was doing. I was doing the swatches, I was doing the layer and blending test. And so I thought about that for quite some time. I kind of like thought in my head, I wonder how many other people feel like that, and I wonder if doing the artwork would actually give any benefit. And so then I started doing the artwork. After reading that comment, and it wasn't aimed at anybody in particular, it was just a comment that somebody had put out that they were well within their rights to put out. And from that point on, I then started breaking my reviews down into 4 individual parts: the written review, the video review explaining the product, a video review of a speed drawing of the artwork, and then images that I would take of the artwork from start to finish and have, through the process. And I would put those images up on the Art Gear Guide as well, so that people could go across, click on the image, zoom in, inspect what the actual pencil looks like at certain stages throughout the artwork process on the paper that I was using, which is another reason why I use so many different papers throughout my testing. And I'll show you those as well, like on the black papers, and when I'm doing pastel pencils, I'll do it on brown and black and white as well. And I'll use vellum, and I'll use mixed media paper, and sometimes I'll use Bristol Smooth and hot press paper, all these different papers to help you get a better understanding of the pencil. But me now adding the artwork is a crucial part of the review, because it really does show you what the product is capable of doing. If you look through my videos, not all of the artwork is good. Some of the artwork is terrible. There was one pencil I did, I think it might have been the Jerry's Artorama Soho pencil. I started that pencil out on a particular paper doing the drawing, and it just wasn't taken. And I put that in the review, and then I moved over to a different paper, and the artwork turned out much better than what it did originally in the other paper. And I put all of that information in the review to show people, this is how the pencil reacts on X paper, and this is how it reacts on Y paper. So it's up to you how you categorize your pencils. Whether you want to put them into the wax or oil-based family, that's entirely up to you. But the reasons that I've just said here in this video are the reasons why I don't categorize them as wax or oil-based, because I know in my head that there's no such thing. And so therefore I want to instead of categorizing them as wax or oil based, I give you my account of how the core feels. I don't know the benefits. I don't understand the benefits of knowing why why anybody needs to know whether it's wax or oil based. I guess it might have something to do with if you are a color pencil artist that likes using odorless mineral spirits. Some pencils react differently to the odorless mineral spirits, but that won't be just because the pencil has maybe more wax in it than oil, or more oil in it than wax. There will be a multitude of other reasons why that pencil reacts differently to odorless mineral spirits. Could be down to the binding agents that they're using, could be down to the type of waxes that they're using in the pencils. Could be a multitude of different reasons why it reacts differently under odorless mineral spirits as opposed to another pencil. But it's not for me to tell you how to categorize your pencils. If you want to categorize them as wax or oil, or if you want to categorize them as gold or silver, that's entirely up to you. But for my reviews, I need to keep them as accurate as I can. And so this is the reason why I don't mention whether they are predominantly wax or predominantly oil. And that's it. There are lots of reviewers out there that do that say that this is a wax-based pencil or an oil-based pencil. And if you really need to know whether a pencil is wax or oil-based, or predominantly waxed or oil-based, you need to have that categorization. Like I say, there are lots of excellent reviewers out there that will be able to give that to you. But I hope that the method that I've chose to use, which is just explaining to you in as best in as much detail as I possibly can, I just hope that will help you in deciding whether you want to get a pencil, or deciding whether that pencil is going to fit into the genre of art that you use, or the type of the other pencils that you might have in your collection. Maybe that pencil just wouldn't fit in with what you're already using. So I hope that the way I do these reviews will continue to help you. But like I say, if you wanted to know why I don't categorize them as wax or oil, this is it. Anyway, guys, I've blabbered on far too long. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon. Thank you. Bye.